our next valuable speaker, Edward Pank. Edward opened the Asia-Pacific office for WARC at the beginning of 2011 in Singapore. WARC is an online subscription service with a mission to save the world from ineffective marketing. Wow, there is something called ineffective marketing. They provide the latest evidence, expertise, and guidance to help marketers become more and more effective. So ladies and gentlemen, with a huge round of applause, please welcome Ed Pank. Welcome.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just wondering, how on earth did I get this speaking slot right after that? And right before Piyush Pandey. I am bookended by two creative legends. I will provide a bit of strategy in a creative sandwich in the next 30 minutes. And I will be sharing what I think are some really interesting case studies and some strategies of how to do tech for good, how to innovate for social impact. And I think this is a great strategy for overcoming disruption and even becoming a disruptor ourselves. So, a little bit about us and our purpose. We're talking about purpose through the course of today's presentation. As I was introduced, our purpose is to help save the world from ineffective marketing. And if I can help make your marketing just a little bit more effective today, then as I get on my plane back to Singapore in a couple of hours, I will sleep easy tonight. A little bit of context for who we are and the presentation. WARC is a marketing intelligence service. At WARC.com, we have thousands of case studies, best practice research papers to really help our clients do more effective work. And we work with a whole host of different content partners. 40% of the content on WARC is exclusive to us. And today I'm going to be referencing a report that we published just a few weeks ago, the Marketer's Toolkit for 2019. And this provides some business context for today's presentation. The majority of brands in this survey of 800 marketers around the world say that they are threatened by category disruption. And disruption is often driven by challenger brands that focus on human-centric innovations with alternative business models. And these businesses are primarily online and are not burdened by legacy structures. So how can tech for good help fight and avoid this disruption and help brands become a disruptor themselves? So let's unpack what we mean by tech for good. Well, good or purpose is a way for a brand to stand out, and many brands are doing that successfully and gaining preference in a very cluttered marketplace. Tech obviously offers connectivity and convenience. It's a powerful tool for delivering social good, offering reach and simplifying a way that an audience can engage with a particular issue. And tech also has this amazing democratizing effect. It opens up new opportunities for people who might otherwise be excluded by their location or by their economic situation. And tech can empower audiences, of course, but it's not enough in itself. There must be a trusted brand in play and a cohesive strategy, and that is a recurring theme through today's presentation. So I want to cover 4 themes, and I have a case study to bring each point to life. Smart ways to humanize data for good. So we're from tech to good, we're going to look at data for good and how can data help engender a brand to new audiences. Smart ways to help audiences to unlock growth by providing utility to audiences that haven't otherwise been reached. Thirdly, looking at smart simplicity, so simple and meaningful ways to bring to life an experience and increase social impact. And then the last point is machine learning with human feeling. Yes, we're in the age of machines, but I think it's incredibly important that that interaction, that conversation has a human touch, has a human feeling. So let's kick off with smart ways to harness data for good. Now, when we look at, again, some of the data from the toolkit, we can see that the key industry challenges facing brands in 2019 are, firstly, growth in a slowing economy, big data management or data ethics, and ensuring consumer trust. So those are the top 3 challenges for this year. And you can also see that building a purposeful brand also features highly on the list. But the relationship between big data management and consumer trust is interlinked. There's been a litany of different data scandals in the last year or so. Data hacks, data breaches, and what does this do? It erodes consumer trust in brands. But what if a brand came up with some purposeful communications that then could show itself to have good data ethics and in itself help improve trust scores? And this is a model that I've taken out of a best practice guide on WARC on how to blend brand purpose and good data ethics. And in it is a key stat. 78% of consumers believe that businesses benefit disproportionately from personal data exchange, but won't mind sharing data if it provides them with a tangible benefit or reward. So when we look at this data-driven purpose design model, we can see that if a brand creates a purposeful brand communications and then creates a positive social impact, people won't mind sharing personal data. And data then, that data exchange is like a social value exchange, if you will. You reward good, you create good, and you optimize good. And this campaign that I'm about to share with you has done this really, really nicely. So Deutsche Telekom, the German mobile operator, it used a smartphone game to collect data that then could be used in research against the issue of dementia. So in this game, they measure spatial navigation, they collect the data, and then this data can then be used as a benchmark for future research to see how people's brains are actually changing. It builds on their brand belief of life is for sharing, and they had a target of 100,000 downloads. They got 3 million downloads on this game. And it's resulted in an 18-point increase in brand approval. Let's take a look.
The world's first mobile game where anyone can help scientists fight dementia. Because Deutsche Telekom believe memory should be shared, not lost, we've brought together leading scientists, dementia charities, and gaming experts to motivate hundreds of thousands of people to create the world's biggest dementia research project.
You're a sea explorer and you're recovering memories for your father. And as you move around, your position gets relayed back to the scientists and they can see it like a heat map. And that data is used to try and understand on a mass scale how people are navigating around.
And the more we can find out about how people find their way around, the better we can understand the problems people might get in dementia.
We launched in 16 languages, focusing on mobile to ensure consumers were just one click from download, and harness PR and social to get people to game for good. We've already hit 3.3 million downloads, and it was the #1 free game in tens of markets.
Experts have devised an app that with just 2 minutes of play can provide scientists with the equivalent of 5 hours of data.
So far, we've generated almost 14,000 years worth of data, and the first results from this data analysis have given scientists breakthrough knowledge on the human brain.
First, our main story, the world's largest dementia experiment has used a video game to prove the brain's ability to navigate declines with age.
We're just scratching the surface with this first data. We found quite a number of interesting results, giving us that precision that we need to really help build the diagnostic tools of the future.
I think you'll agree, an outstanding campaign. And the marketing lead from the campaign, he sums it up really nicely here. With Sea Hero Quest, we were able to embody our life is for sharing proposition while at the same time realizing our digital duty to society as a whole, empowering people around the world to share their time and data to game for good. And I really like this notion of digital duty. And I think all brands in this day and age need to have a digital duty, a digital dharma, in terms of how they can create technology and how that can have good for mankind around the world. So the next section in the presentation I want to look at is smart ways to help new audiences. Now, you can't help new audiences unless you understand them. And this is where this notion of empathy comes in. It doesn't mean just being nice. It actually helps overcome biases. There are cultural biases in society, and if you can use empathy, you can overcome that. And it means truly walking in consumer shoes, understanding their pain points and pleasures, and addressing them. And companies that have emotionally intelligent leaders and are expressing this level of empathy are much more successful and have a happier workforce. And this has been measured. The empathy index, it measures how empathetic companies are, and companies at the top increased in value twice as fast as those at the bottom. And you can see some of the protagonists at the top: LinkedIn, Netflix, Unilever, the usual suspects. So empathy is a way to understand audiences, to unlock new growth, and also be more successful at the same time. And you guys in India are incredibly successful at doing this by creating new technologies that tap into the rural masses beyond the cities in India. And there are many, many examples of this done really nicely on WARC. So IDFC, they created micro ATMs in mum and pop stores, bringing banking services to the unbanked in India. Vodafone India, the Saki campaign. So they created an SMS redemption code, and this avoided the issue of women prepaid mobile subscribers leaving their mobile number with the retailer and then having harassment as a result. Paytm, we heard from Paytm yesterday, all of the amazing innovations that they've done, particularly off the back of the monetization crisis a few years ago, and how they created an education campaign about the payment platform, and also critically appropriating the cultural nuances of cash and bringing that into the campaign and making it more successful as a result. So you all know those India campaigns. They are incredibly successful. And you guys are leading this type of technology in terms of reaching new audiences. But this is a campaign from China that I wanted to share with you today. So Elevate is a multivitamin pregnancy brand from Bayer. And unlike state-owned competitors, Elevate could not advertise directly. And they wanted to address the key issue of cultural bias that men in China cannot attend the first ultrasound of their baby. So what they did is they created this piece of technology. It was a heartbeat tracker, and it could record the baby's heartbeat during the ultrasound so that the dads could then experience this after the event. And they created a wonderful branded content series and created a campaign as a result of that. Purchase intention increased by 22%, and sales went up by 57%. Let's have a look.
In China, parents don't get to share the first time they see their baby due to the government ban preventing fathers from attending the ultrasound. We decided to tackle this separation whilst also solving one of Elevate's biggest challenges. Elevate produced a better prenatal vitamin supplement than their largest government-owned competitor. But Chinese legislation had banned communicating these benefits to consumers, whilst the competitor has unprecedented access to the medical profession, putting it front of mind for parents-to-be. Our objective was to help Elevate become the #1 preferred prenatal vitamin brand, so we directed our focus not on the science, but on the heart. We brought parents-to-be together to share something magical, their child's heartbeat for the first time. Using a heartbeat tracker that recalls and relieves the special ultrasound moment.
这个心跳是我的还是？你觉得？是宝宝的。
We filmed these magical moments to create a branded content series that we tightly targeted towards our audience. Expectant parents were identified through search data from Baidu, China's biggest search engine. To promote sales, we retargeted parents who engaged with our campaign. and offered the first 100 e-commerce buyers a Love Before Birth gift pack that included the exclusive Elevate heartbeat tracker. The campaign sparked debates about change to Chinese regulation. 10% of people who saw the campaign went on to find out more about Elevate. And for the first time ever, the purchase intention of our main competitor decreased 58%, whilst Elevate's increased 22%. This led to an impressive 57% sales uplift, while bringing parents together for the first hello.
我感觉到他的心跳，整个人都融化了。
So a very simple piece of technology, just recording the baby's heartbeat, and then that is the foundation of a great branded content campaign. Okay, so the next section that I'd like to look at is smart simplicity for social ROI. Technology is very complicated, but it always needs to be presented in an extremely simple way for consumers to opt in and to use that technology. And I think simplicity is key, and I also think an immersive, memorable experience is key. And when you create these experiences that will have an impact on society, they then become remembered, and the results are ensuing. So it's about driving simple, memorable experiences through tech. These are some points from a consumer decision-making best practice guide on WARC. And what it says, most decisions are made very quickly using the subconscious. Mental shortcuts are key in making choices, often emotion. Influencing decisions is particularly hard when convenience is involved because we'll always opt for the path of least resistance. Reducing the number of decisions can help, thus removing friction wherever possible. And it's about designing effective brand experiences that are easy and efficient, but highly memorable. And it's about creating these immersive experiences that can influence change, and these are likely to have the most impact. And this is a quote from the Best Practice Guide. Usability is a form of quality and is increasingly important for brands to deliver in terms of functional, aesthetic, and emotional elements that simplify and enrich customers' lives. I want to stress the simplification and enrichment. Intuitive interactions that reduce customer effort and cognitive load add value by making life easier for customers. So it's very important to focus on this simplicity, to make it easy for consumers to opt in, but also think about immersing them into a highly memorable experience, and then it'll be much more effective. And here is an example from India. So HP Lubricants, their message was on driver safety. And what they wanted to focus on is the fact that there are some hairpin bends up in the mountain roads that are incredibly dangerous. And there is one particular bend where on average 65 to 80 people die every month. And what they did is they created some very simple technology, these poles, which basically just alerted a vehicle of oncoming traffic from the other direction around the bend. And what happened as a result of this campaign? The following month, there were absolutely no deaths. Incredible. This is advertising. Yes, it's done in a microcosm way on one bend in India, but this is technology that is saving lives. Another example is from Vodafone in Turkey. And here, what the brand wanted to do was find a new way to engage its audiences, as they were the only foreign telco in that market. So they wanted to engage female consumers. And they wanted to address the issue of domestic abuse, which is prevalent in Turkey. And they created an app where women could actually seek help in confidence to a group of trusted friends and family if she was experiencing some kind of domestic abuse. And what happened as a result of this campaign, 24% of women in Turkey who own a smartphone downloaded this app.
In a society where family is above everything else, it's inappropriate for women to openly seek help. Vodafone believes technology can be a powerful force for good. So we created an app in which women could secretly seek help. Hidden in a flashlight app, but if the user is in danger, she can just shake her phone and the app automatically sends a message to 3 people she trusts, along with her exact location. To spread an app which works only if it's kept secret, we hid our messages in places no man would ever see it, like lingerie tags at partner shops, wax strips, female toilets, even promoted female video bloggers on national TV to boost views online on their tutorial videos, which contained our message hidden deep inside the content. We estimated the secrecy would last 10 months, then the app would slowly be exposed and become useless. That's when we moved to phase 2, launching an update which turned the innocent flashlight into a mirror application. Once again, using hidden messages to announce the change. If any men would try to watch these videos, we attempted to lure them with banners that would direct them elsewhere. Hidden inside a shareable cosmetics discount, the message appeared only when it was copy-pasted. All of Vodafone female subscribers were informed through an automated voice system about the function of the app. They were also given the option to share the voice message with their friends and help promote it. The system recognized if a man answered the phone, so instead, he would hear a generic promotional offer from Vodafone. As of today, over 254,000 women have downloaded the app. That's 24% of all women with smartphones in Turkey. The app has been activated over 103,000 times. We hope that one day the biggest success will be when we don't have to make any more versions of the app, and no woman will ever have to download it again.
A really simple form of technology, right? But it's doing so much good. A fantastic way of a brand being able to deal with a societal issue. And the last area of today's presentation that I want to share with you is machine learning with human feeling. Yes, we're in this era of the rise of the machines, but how important is it to retain a human touch in that interaction, in that conversation? Well, I think it's incredibly important. When we look at data from the toolkit, again, we can see that AI is the top tech priority for marketers in 2019. The majority are focusing on AI, and how they are using AI is personalization and dynamic content creation. And for personalization to work, it has to be relevant. So actually getting the personalization right and the tone is incredibly important. You need to apply a human touch. Because if you don't, you risk the issue of advertising going from being quite clever to actually quite creepy. And there's this notion that's published in an essay on WARC on advertising's uncanny valley. And it's when, you've all seen it, when you see robots and they're kind of copying human behavior and they're doing it really successfully. And it just kind of makes you feel kind of quite weird. There was Amazon's Alexa last year suddenly started emitting out a cackle laugh. And everyone kind of went straight onto social media and were reporting it and kind of sharing that on social media. It was kind of creating a bit of paranoia. And I think it's really important to manage this tightrope, this personalization tightrope, and avoid, if you can, advertising's uncanny valley. And you can do so by being a bit more playful, being a bit more imperfect, showing some human idiosyncrasies. If you remember last year, Google put out a recording of its assistant making a haircut appointment. And it was incredible. It was incredibly smooth and efficient and very engaging. But it was actually the that they put into the dialogue which actually made it feel really, really human and really authentic. And I think this is a really important point to note. Oliver Feldwick wrote this essay on WARC. Brands must be upfront in their contract with consumers and leave space for human discovery, serendipity, and surprise. We need to work with the machines. We can't just sit back and let the algorithm do its work. We have to make the magic work together. And this last campaign that I want to share with you is from Australia. It's for a mental health charity called Headspace. And what they wanted to do was to find a way to tackle bullying before it happens. Most bullying is reported, and then it's dealt with after the occasion. They wanted to come up with a real-time tracking tool that actually could change behavior of children when they're about to type something that's potentially quite abusive online. So they created this, this piece of technology that when kids went online and started to write something offensive, a red line was drawn through that and an alternative suggestion was offered. 67% reduction in bullying behavior per user. Let's take a look.
It's hard to believe our children are still not protected from cyberbullying. Taunting has moved from schoolyards to social media, but kids don't think about the effect their words really have. Young people don't fully develop their moral compass until adulthood. So, working with Headspace, we created an educational tool to help children when they first become social media active. Reword, a real-time alert for online bullying behaviour.
I see things like "I hate you" or "nobody likes you." With Reword, if you type that, the red line appears and people don't bully as much.
Reword is built with a custom lexicon database that uses multiple strings to create millions of potential insult combinations. As a child types, rejects matching cross-references the database to identify abusive patterns. When one is found, the child is alerted with a red strike through, instantly interrupting their behaviour.
Reword uses a red line because it's a simple visual alert that something's wrong. Don't bully and the line will never appear.
Reword is designed to recognise bullying sentiment and context, not just swearing. And to help the tool evolve, children can add new bullying words and phrases, increasing its intelligence. Launching in Australian schools with a Google Chrome extension, Reword addressed the issue in front of the media, growing global support for the tool.
They do need the tools to solve the problem themselves.
The new Google Chrome extension called Reword.
With the backing of the Australian government, Reword will be installed in all Australian schools and expanded to mobile devices, reaching all messaging platforms. Reword is changing bullying behaviour, creating...
What a great campaign. Again, real-time technology that is actually working with humans, with those kids to make the whole experience that much better and much more effective. So 5 key takeaways from today's presentation. Purpose offers this social value exchange with audience to improve data ethics and increase trust back into brands, and this is really important. Tech for Good, you can overcome bias by empathizing with untapped audiences to unlock growth. And remember that when it comes to experiences, they need to be immersive, very simple but memorable, that influence change, and these will have the most impact. And it's avoid advertising's uncanny valley by including imperfections and idiosyncrasies into your communication, and it'll become more effective as a result. And my last call to action to you guys is to think about how your brand can innovate and fulfill its digital dharma in the year ahead. Just to call out, shameless plug, WARC Awards throughout the year. These are free to enter. We'd love to get some more case studies from this market. India does actually incredibly well in the effectiveness rankings that we publish on WARC, but we'd love to get some of your fantastic work. So please look at that. And if anybody would like a copy of today's presentation deck, if you have any QR code readers on your phones, you can just take a link from there and you can download a copy of the deck. Thank you very much for your time and attention today. It's been a pleasure to talk to you today. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much. I'm going to request you to kindly remain on stage as I invite on stage Mr. Kaushik Roy to kindly present Mr. Pank with a memento of gratitude. Thank you. And a very warm welcome to you, Mr. Roy. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, my takeaway, You can give as many solutions as you want, but honestly, at the end of it, if it needs to be changed, you need to ask yourself questions. So thank you for bringing that to the forefront. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Pank.